The influential New York Times newspaper is backing Hillary Clinton's campaign for the Democratic nomination, describing her as one of the most deeply qualified presidential candidates in modern history. And yet, the scandal surrounding her use of a private email account while Secretary of State continues. The State Department now saying that 22 messages passing through her home internet server while she was America's top diplomat had information which was marked top secret. Mrs. Clinton has always insisted there was no breach of national security because she didn't send or receive classified material. Let's get more on this. In Des Moines, in Iowa, where the first of the voting contest takes place on Monday. Let's talk to Kimberly Halkett, who's there. This won't go away for her, will it?
No, it won't. But the calls for Hillary Clinton to clarify just what exactly was on those emails is getting louder. The Clinton campaign itself saying, in fact, that it would like these emails to be released, that it has nothing to hide, but that's pretty safe to make that call or that claim because they know, in fact, that that will not happen. These emails have been marked as top secret and cannot be released to the public now, according to the State Department. The problem here, David, is that the stories from the Clinton campaign do not match with 1 year ago when it was revealed that Hillary Clinton was using a private email server. She said at that time she has nothing to hide, and the fact that there was no sensitive information on that private email server. Now the State Department itself saying that in fact there were some closely guarded government secrets that were being passed back and forth in an email chain of 7 different emails. Calls into question whether there are 2 rules of law. You know, there is the case of Bradley Manning, now Chelsea Manning, sitting in jail for passing or government secrets. The same with Edward Snowden, now sitting in exile. This is something that has been called into question on whether or not Hillary Clinton herself has violated the same government protocols, and calls into question whether there has been criminal activity, according to a top Republican opponent.
Hillary Clinton's disqualified from being president. She's disqualified. This thing with her emails is a big deal. Okay, just yesterday, they couldn't release all her emails. You know why they couldn't release them? You read this. Because some of the emails are so sensitive, so classified, that they can't release them. It would be damaging to release them. What else do we need to know? I can tell you this. She thinks she's above the law. She believes she's above the law. What she did is because she believes she is above the law.
And yet she gets the backing of the New York Times, which must be very pleasing for her.
It's certainly a very good indicator when you have just 2 days, David, before the Iowa caucus is held. But at the same time, the ongoing problem for the Hillary Clinton campaign has been Hillary's sort of voting numbers when it comes, or polling numbers rather, when it comes to trust. This does not help that. She scores very low in national polls when it comes to whether or not she can be trusted as a future president. The fact is, here in Iowa, she's still holding a lead, but expect that it will be a real problem for her, this email issue in New Hampshire, which is the next state to hold its nominating contest, where she is lagging significantly behind Bernie Sanders. And it's also going to be a very big problem should she become the Democratic presidential nominee in the federal election campaign, because this is something that we've seen already. Her Republican opponents are ready and set to seize upon.
Kimberly, we thank you very much indeed. Des Moines, Iowa, there where the focus will be on Monday. Let's talk about this with James Boyce, political historian who specialises in the United States. Kimberly says it'll play big in the general election, but will it make much of a difference, no matter what the press says? Will it make much of a difference to the voting public?
Well, your first question to Kimberly was, this isn't going away, is it? And of course it isn't, because of course the media like the story, but so too do her Republican opponents. Bernie Sanders has said famously, you know, I'm sick of your damn emails, Hillary, and as many of us are. But the question keeps coming up because of course the Republicans are going to keep playing upon it. It raises issues about trust. The President of the United States, as well as the New York Times, has said she's perhaps one of the most uniquely qualified people to hold office. And yet time and time again we find with the Clintons generally that there are always these scandals, these issues which keep coming up, which challenge their capacity to hold office in the eyes of many.
And once you start throwing mud and attach the name Clinton to it, is a recurring nightmare for the American people. So perhaps the Clinton name is a handicap rather than a bonus in this.
It's one of the things I address in my new book, Hillary Rising, this idea that we're talking about a Clinton dynasty, but of course, whenever you have a dynastic quality, there's always going to be strong pluses as well as negatives. So for all the skills that Hillary Clinton rightfully would bring to the presidency, there are these ongoing issues of baggage which go right back to their time in Arkansas.
Same thing applies to the Republicans, perhaps, and Jeb Bush in this, because, I mean, he's been a spectacular failure so far.
His campaign really has never got out of third gear. I mean, Donald Trump takes a lot of credit for talking about his low-energy campaign, and it's quite right. In many ways, this campaign of Jeb Bush's is reminiscent of George H.W. Bush's, his father's campaign in 1992, when many people wondered whether President Bush at that point was sick with perhaps a thyroid problem. He certainly is no George W. Bush. He was a very emboldened candidate when he ran for the presidency.
When people tune in on Monday night or Tuesday morning and they see the result and perhaps they think, oh, actually, Mrs. Clinton hasn't done very well in Iowa. Is that an indication of where it goes from here? Because, I mean, the polls put her in South Carolina at 64%, and I think it's only New Hampshire and one other state where Bernie Sanders is ahead.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I think when we look back at this on Tuesday, we'll be looking at Hillary Clinton victory in Iowa. I think the polls are all over the place. I mean, you know, we can look at the polling we've had in the UK and as well as in the US over the last couple of years, and they've been, you know, out by a long shot. Polls conducted in Iowa over the last 9 days, 5 have put Hillary ahead, 4 Bernie Sanders ahead. The poll of polls would suggest she might win by about 6%. She's probably going to lose New Hampshire, then move into South Carolina. We've got 25 states voting before the middle of March. So really, this could all be over by, 8 weeks from now.
Let's make an assumption.
Sure.
Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. Going back to July, Mrs. Clinton had a lead of 19.5%. Looking at the polls for this week, her lead, if it were to be those two and the election was to be held now, 2.7%. What is happening?
I think what we need to be very, very careful of here is there's a lot of talk about what's referred to as national polling. There is no national poll that's ever conducted in the United States that people vote in. If there had been, Al Gore would have been president of the United States in 2000. We need to set this state by state, and only then when we determine who will be the next president in the United States.
And many people would argue that Al Gore should have been the next president since he got more of the popular vote.
500,000 votes.
OK. James, thanks very much. And yet, the scandal surrounding her use of a private email account while Secretary of State continues. The State Department now saying that 22 messages passing through her home internet server while she was America's top diplomat had information which was marked top secret. The State Department now saying that 22 messages passing through her home internet server while she was America's top diplomat had information which was marked top secret.